I went to Nebraska, my first day, out of Puerto Rico. When I got there, I went with my daughter Anna, not that my oldest one. She was this one here, was in the Navy on those days. And my oldest daughter, I mean, she does have a tongue of herself. And she is very witty. My wife and I, with my daughter, we went into the motor vehicle. When we got there, they asked us, we're Puerto Ricans. I was born in New York. My wife was born in Puerto Rico. My daughter was born in Hartford, Connecticut. But we are Hispanics. Ergo, the differences. So the question that the person in motor vehicle asked us in North Platte, Nebraska was, do you have your green card? My wife looked at me. Okay? And my daughter Anna, as she is, Papi, no she didn't, right? And I tell her, Anna, some people need to be explained.
Educated.
But I didn't want to go there because you say that can be sounding as something disrespectful and so forth. Because we have to also respect their cultural diversity. That is something to say, as we demand respect for our diversity, we are the first ones who have to give it. So we will have the right to ask for it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's very important in us in church. Bless those who persecute you.
That's right.
Okay? Bless them. Pray for them. Okay? Okay. Multiculturalism. Oh, that picture is nice, yeah? Tool. Go to Google Images. You'll find a lot of pictures. Okay? But you will find something also that is. But you choose. You're intelligent human beings. All right now. Or ethnic diversity. The promotion of multiple ethnic cultures. The acknowledgement. Okay, so if I go to a church, and if I go to that church and see Hispanics in the back, and I go to one mass, and I see about 30 or 40 of them in the back because they don't understand the language. Then I see in front about 20 Caucasian brothers and sisters. And I go to the mass at 10 o'clock, and I will see there about 30 Caucasians, but I will see in the back about 90 Hispanics. Hey, it's time for somebody to ask the Holy Spirit to just shine their mind and let them know that there is something going on that we need to work with as a welcoming church. Hello? Let's not forget that. This is the one and only church. Therefore, we got to work with that. We need to work with that. We must. Because I don't think God only wants that. God demands it. Let me continue. Okay, this way. Communication style. A set of cultural learned characteristics associated with both languages and learned styles involving such aspects of communication as formal versus informal, emotional versus subdued, direct versus indirect, objective versus subjective, and response to guilt and accusation. I gave you an explanation of that when I spoke to you about English, Spanish, and Spanish. You see? I speak in English, but my mother language is Spanish. So in order for me to speak in English with you, the thought comes in Spanish. It works itself in, it's translated, and then it comes out of my mouth already processed. So I'm sweating already. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's not anybody's fault, it's that was the way I was raised. See, we need to work with those kinds of issues within the church. And a lot of us sometimes become a little blind to the fact. Okay? I love to see groups come together and see all kinds of colors, ethnic groups, cultural groups, all of that within the church. You know why? Because that was the way it was intended. Pentecost, the day that the church was born, everybody was drunk according to all those who were not related yet saw what's going on. Everybody spoke a different language. Everybody had a different tone of skin. Yet even speaking different languages, each one understood each other. Wow, you want to talk about cultural diversity? That's the biggest, right there, in the beginning of our church. I was speaking with Dale before, how our 32nd Pope, I know the name in Spanish, so if Dale wants to correct it, it's okay. His name is, he's even a saint, San Melquiades. How do you say it in English?
Melquiades.
There you go, something like that, yeah. 32nd Pope. That was the Pope responsible with Constantine to make Christianity the official religion of the empire. Now, I'm going to give you a trivia. From what country do you think that brother was? Who? I was in 300. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Was never good at
All right. Anybody? Take a shot on that?
North African?
To what?
North African?
Yes. An African who happened to be the 32nd Pope. An African. You want to talk about cultural diversity? So many people have to acknowledge that cultural diversity is a blessing within the church. No one is better, no one is worse. And this is the Catholic Church. Catholic meaning what?
Universal.
Everything points to the same thing. Culture is always an evolution. I just brought this picture here because I just wanted you to see the evolution of the name Google, the logo, Google through time. And as you see how it started and how it is right now, that is 3D. It's an example of how it goes in evolution. And that's part of culture. Any questions? Ethnocentrism. The tendency that people have to evaluate others from their own cultural reference. I just said before, people tend to judge others from their own point of view, from their own personhood. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. I believe in God the Father, but can I talk to a brother or a sister, no matter where they come from, about God the Father if they don't know what a father is? And help them understand what it is? If they refuse because their father was an abuser? And I talk about God the Father. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And this is not even ethnic. This is just idea. Has nothing to do with race. And there you go, the differences that you have right there and then. So imagine that when you bring it into the ethnic and cultural background, where everybody that is brown, speaks Spanish, is Hispanic, and that's it. I'm sorry, but I don't eat spicy. I know. I'm not Mexican, I'm Puerto Rican. I bless my Mexican brothers and sisters. But I am not. So when you put, like, it happened to me again. Immediately I wanted a hot dog. It says, okay, here you go. Boom, they put a Tabasco thing in there like, I'm Puerto Rican. Well, you all look alike.
Yeah.
And this is happening. This is, I mean, we have it as a joke, but this is happening. We cannot be blind to this fact. And I have to, right now, I have to apologize if anyone of you in front of me are feeling a little bit uncomfortable by these words. But my intention is not to hurt anyone. My intention is to open your thoughts and let you know, please, let's work as the church that we are, as the true church. We need to face these facts. Period. Why is diversity important? We live in a time when the encounter of languages, races, and cultures is more intense than ever. Mass media, especially the internet, travel, immigration, and increasingly globalized economy are bringing people together more and more. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
We need to work that. If we agree with this, we need to work with this. Okay? Even in your parish, that you might not see someone with a different color of skin, that person, or those persons, they might be from a different country than what you came from. Hey, I remember reading about the history of the church here in the U.S., how the Irish came in, and then the conflicts with the Italians. It was serious business. I mean, there were serious conflicts. And these are both two well-rounded ethnic European groups, where Catholicism, it's well-rounded in there. Yet they come in here, and the conflict was tremendous, that it's even part of history. And I must say, part of the not too positive aspect of the church within our country today.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not only happening because Hispanics, African Americans, Caucasians, or whites, or whatever it is. No, it's been part of our history. Why? Because in the nation we have had racial conflict since the beginning. Okay? The experience of diversity is therefore more characteristic of our times and brings with it serious challenges and great opportunities. I think that's well explained within. I'm sorry. It happens, yeah. Five priority goals of the USCCB from 2008 to 2012 because of the changes happening in the USCCB. They was talking about how the program was certified until 2014, and because of that, nobody knows what's going on. It's happening the same thing here, but I don't think this will change that much, and you will see why. Straightening marriage. And if we've seen that, if you haven't seen that in the U.S. today, how the Catholic Church is pushing very hard, okay, to straighten what the meaning of marriage and what marriage is. And let me not go further than that, because that's not what we need to talk about. Second, faith formation and sacramental practice. It is important for everyone in the Catholic Church to inform themselves and educate themselves about the faith. Okay? That's the problem within our church today for many people. I think, and I believe, you guys as apostles need to go out there and bring that to the rest of the faithful. Education is the key to preserve our faith. A lot of people talk things they don't even know about. Okay? And even though the theme is not this, but if you want a Catholic in doubt, bring a Protestant to make a dumb question, and that Catholic will not know the answer. You will see the Catholic doing, let me check what they got over here, this one. And that's what's happening today. And if you know, and here we have cultural diversity and how this is playing, if you know that if you go into the New York Times, Times Magazine, the year I believe was 2004, where I saw the statue of the Virgin of Guadalupe in Chicago, inside of a Baptist church. Why do you think they do that? Why? Thank you. Because this is a saying among a lot of people that understand a little bit, because I don't understand much. There's so much diversity within the Mexican culture that I don't dare to say I understand it. There's so much beauty in there. But they say that a Mexican may stop being Catholic, but will never stop being Guadalupan.
True.
Okay? So, I will never be surprised to see a Protestant church use that to their favor. It doesn't surprise me at all. Because if you go, there is a book called American Magnificat. Yeah, that's the way it's called. And this is how Protestant churches view the Virgin of Guadalupe in the United States. Very good book, something that I urge you as ministers to look into, because there's a lot of people that will be affected by this kind of phenomenon. It's called American Magnificat. I don't have right now the writers. I do have it in my iPad because I have it under, it's an ebook and I have it in Kindle. Reading about it really blew my mind. How different, because there are, which I didn't know, there are different Protestant groups that respect the Virgin Mary. You get it twisted now. Okay? And they use that to bring. But one of the things that are happening lately in the Catholic Church is that a lot of those who left are now saying, this ain't what they told me. I'm going back home. Right? And if you heard through the grapevine, the bishop in, I believe it's Fort Worth, had ordained a father and a son, both married, Episcopalians, to become Catholic priests. And how 500,000 Episcopalians have renounced the Anglican faith and have come back to the church. So they talk about how Catholics leave, but they don't talk about the other side. So that's what I'm saying. Read, get informed. You'll see the richness of it. Promotion of vocations to priesthood and consecrated life. Hey, my culture in the majority is a machista culture. I'm not going to deny that. It's true. Okay? Which I hate that aspect. When my son was born and he was about 8 years old, he told me, Papi, yeah, he was seeing the some ninja cartoon or something. And since he saw me in church all the time and, you know, helping in the mass, and say, Papi, you know what I want to be? He said, what? A ninja priest. Today he's married, he has 3 kids. I said, what a ninja priest, really? I never said to him, I want grandkids on the contract. Okay? My wife was like, you know what? He's going to carry us. Lord will say. Now, Lord said no. And he has 3 kids. What can I say? Oh, there you go. So, there you go. We need to promote vocations among our children. Period. If we don't have a priest to give the masses, who will bring the Lord down to us? Don't you understand that part? We need priests. We need to go to our knees and ask the Lord to help us. Help those youngsters to come and give themselves in His honor. And this I'm not even afraid to say anything, because that's true. If we don't have a priest, we'll not have Mass. We don't have Mass, we don't have a church. Okay? Life and dignity of the human person. And that's why cultural diversity is so important. God gave you a dignity because of creating you as His image. I'm telling you, it happens. He, at this moment, demands from each other to respect each other. Because if you disrespect the person next to you, you know that you're disrespecting the creation of God. You're not only disrespecting the person, you're disrespecting the creation of God. Okay? And you have to see it that way. I remember I was working with Sprint one time, and as a customer service in the phone. And they, this lady was, you blah, blah. I was in financial, oh God, man, you have them there. And rah, 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 rah. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. This is the rules. You have to do this, this, this. But you, blah, blah. Then, my co-worker next door comes and tells me, hey, E, call me E, wherever I go. E, why are you taking all this? Why is it that this person spoke to you like practically nothing? Yet, you gave them everything that you had to. And I told him, it has nothing to do with the job. I swear, it has nothing to do with the job. This person deserves respect even if he or she disrespects me. I didn't say I was going to put the cheek again. I said, this person, even if he or she disrespects, you always have to respect. Period. Why? That's how the Lord wants it. 2, that gives you the right to defend yourself. Okay? It's the only way we can do it. We need to show proper respect. Even if, like the lady in motor vehicle department, when she comes and sees me and she says, do you have the green card? My daughter went ballistic, as I told you in the beginning. I said, some people need to learn. And then I gave a lady a little intensive course of 5 minutes of Puerto Rico and the relation with the U.S. You saw it, and I'm like, what? Then another one came from the end and says, where's Puerto Rico? Do they exist? Oh my God. Say, there you go. this is what happens. Okay? Because, hey, Florida, Northeast, you know, you might have, but if you go to the Midwest, it's not the same. You understand what I'm saying? And it's not their fault. It's that that's the way it goes. Here we go again. Recognition of cultural diversity with a special emphasis on Hispanic ministry in the spirit of Encuentro 2000. Now you will say, why are you putting this bigger than the others? I have a reason. Yes, ma'am. I have a reason. Hispanics is the largest group in the church, in the U.S. church today. Whether you want to recognize it or not, I respect that. But it is. And I have to say it openly, because I've been to a lot of dioceses, and it's the most neglected group, ethnic group in the church today. Maybe not by the body of bishops, I'm not saying that. But if you go locally, you will see the difference. Okay? And I believe as a Hispanic, I can bring a lot to the church that I love. And I know that a lot of brothers and sisters that partake the same ethnic backgrounds or different ethnic backgrounds within Hispanics think the same. Food for thoughts, and I got 10 minutes. Catholic means universal. Encounter of faith with culture promoting justice. And I just want you to think about those phrases that I put there. You cannot teach faith if you do not evaluate, learn, and also teach through the culture of that one who's listening to you. You have to learn with the person that you are teaching to. Right now, as I speak to you, honestly, I'm not even speaking to you. I'm speaking to myself. Why? Because it's something that I live every day. It's something that every day I have to go through. Because it's a reality of me being who I am. And that's something we will not be able to escape, never. The church cannot be focused on its mission to evangelize without being more and more an expert in diversity. Hello? Okay? Even Christ, a Jewish carpenter, and his apostles. One was a zealot, the other was a fisherman, the other was a collector, the other. Diversity versus division. In our church, we value diversity. We don't accept division. Okay? So if you're a Knight of Columbus, like I am, and you are a charismatic movement, I am also, my movement is not better than yours, and yours is not better than mine. We are together the Catholic Church. We have different talents, different ministries, yet that is the beauty of our church. Melting pot is, melting pot is when you have like crayons in a place where you melt them and they all become one color. And that's what they want to say about society. We are a melting pot. And I'm telling you right now, no, we're not.
That's true.
Okay? Melting pot versus, I call it a stew pot. Why? As you see, while in the other everything became one, this becomes one, yet each one within it does not lose their uniqueness. That's why I say we're not a melting pot. We are a stew pot. Okay? This is my idea. Please don't call me crazy. That's the way I see it. Okay? Because I've seen a lot of people talking about that. Exclusion versus inclusion. Hello. Well, you don't sing like we sing. And that's only an example because I've seen it in worse situations. Okay? Oh, you don't speak in tongues. I'm sorry. No more said. The congregation is the spiritual center of all those who set foot in it. It has to be a kahila kidosha. Now, I want you to learn these 5 points. Relationship are paramount. Worship is engaging. Everyone is consistently learning. Repair of the world is a moral imperative. Healing is offered, and personal and institutional transformation is embraced. And this is where you can find it. That's the book. You can try to get that and read more about it. It is a Jewish a term, but the meanings are so Catholic. This is a poem I found. I don't know if you have seen the movie The Freedom Writer's Diary, where a teacher who happens to be Caucasian, Irish, went into this mixed racial high school, and how teaching English, she just brought all these groups together. African Americans, Hispanic, white, Asians, kids of gangs and all that. And they, through their writing, created one of the best pieces of literature. And this is it's a movie. They came out of a movie. I just saw this part here, which I thought it was so cool. It says, they say I am brown, I say I am proud. They say I only know how to cook. I say I know how to write a book. So don't judge me by the way I look. They say I am brown, I say I am proud. They say I'm not the future of this nation. I say, stop giving me discrimination. Instead, I'm going to use my education to help build the human nation. Okay? These are some of the documents that I used to, and I think they have examples around, so I will urge you to go through it. And these are part of the resources that I am really suggesting you. If you want to read something about cultural diversity, go through it. I will really, if you see the second one was where I got that little poem right now. But the last 3, Eric Law. You want to learn about cultural diversity within the church? That's what you have to read. Thank you very much. It's been an honor.
You want to do some questions or comments? If you want to do some questions or comments, if anybody has any questions.
There you go. If you have any comments, feel free. Don't knock me down, please. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. I was at a presentation years ago, not nearly as good as yours, of course. But it was a woman who was talking about cultural diversity, and she defined Hispanic as a pejorative. Apparently the roots of that word came from the people that swept into California, and it was a derogatory term for the people that were there. Okay, now I assumed she knew what she was talking about. And since then I see Bishop's documents come out with the word Hispanic written in there. If that's the truth, do they not know that?
Well,
Has it become something different?
Yes, and I understand what you're coming from. If you heard me before, I said I prefer the word Latino.
Yes.
You see?
That's what she was telling us.
Yes. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean it cannot be used. Listen, you give the meaning you want to a word. Okay? The word has a meaning, and it has a connotative meaning, which is one that regionally people give. Hispanic, as history accounts, was the name that the U.S. government gave to this group of men and women that spoke Spanish, and they could not classify because of all the different countries and all the different cultures, etc., etc. So they classified as Hispanics because of Spanish, coming from Spain, a Hispanic culture. I don't have any facts, proof to say that is the case. I have read it like editorial commentary, but I don't have proof. And until I don't have a proof, I will not say that that is the case. Nevertheless, that I have read. There's always been a conflict in the Hispanic population, especially, listen, it's more between those who read 2 or 3 books, okay? You know, because that one who works in the farm, he cares less what you call him, Hispanic or Latino. Why? Because he still has to pick up the fruit, and he still has to earn the money so he can support his family. It's just those who read 2 or 3 letters, they come up with theories like, I honestly, to be clear, I honestly really don't. You want to call me Hispanic? You want to call me Latino? I don't. I know I am Eulogio Olivo Rivera. That's what I know. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's, if you use any of those particular names in a pejorative way, that says not too much about you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. When you speak about someone else, you must honor that person. Even if that is a description of that person's, forgive me the redundancy, that person's personhood. Why? I said it before. That's creation of God. And God created me as a Hispanic. And in the Bible it says that everything that God does is what?
It's good.
Therefore, I'm good. And you're good, and you're good, and you're good. Because God created you. I don't care what the color. I don't care what ethnic background. I don't care, no. You are good. God doesn't make junk.
No,
Whatever God does, God does it good.
yes.
That's why I stand and I demand my place in God's church. More time? Anybody else? There you go, sister. Whoa, okay.
Well, it's more of a comment.
Yes.
Thank you first. It really opened my eyes. I guess I'm continually perplexed with all of the human condition of comparing ourselves to the other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of like that's how we see our world, is
Yes, ma'am.
how am I better than, am I,
Mhm.
or, that kind of thing. And I just think it's a challenge that we're faced with because of that human condition, to continually go back to that poor spirit, that humility,
Mm-hmm.
that mutual respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think educating and learning more about the differences, but the individual, when it comes down to how you receive that other person, it's about humility. And I think that's something that sometimes is lost when we challenge people to accept everyone. You know,
Mhm.
I think it's a personal thing, and you have to kind of see the world that way.
It is true, and I concur with you 100%. There is a little point, though, that even though as persons we have this trivia within us, yet that trivia cannot go over what God created. You understand what I'm saying? So, if you have your situation within, even though if you have that and I have mine, I still have to remember who you are. So if I approach you and I talk to you, yes, you have your condition, but I have to see you first as creation before I see you as color, ethnic, cultural, blah, blah. Your creation, and that's what I have to deal with first. Anybody else?
I know,
Whoop, whoop, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sister.
I know you don't have much time.
Okay.
However-
Tell that today, Alondra.
In your experience, how can you best create that culture of appreciation within a parish?
There is a welcoming process, and that will be another day if Dale invites me. There is. And it takes a little bit of time to explain, because the USCCB under cultural diversity has some ideas regarding to welcoming parish. But it takes about an hour and a half to deal with that. And I know the others like, oh, okay. Yes, sister.
Okay, my parish is Corpus Christi,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a great Hispanic ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Very great people. And I have two things I will be doing for my apprenticeship thing.
Yes.
And one of them is this right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm an elector as well. I don't just wait for someone else to welcome me in. I'm also a daily elector.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm up there, if I'm seeing, like he said, a whole row in the back of the church, and everybody is up front, you know, that is my job. Because I'm trying to be a leader. I'm not gonna wait for somebody else to say welcome, because they usually don't. So I make myself go and welcome them.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
So I don't think I have to read a book to say
It
welcome.
is common
It's
sense.
common sense.
It is common sense. Let me give you a little example. With that, I will finish because I don't want to override.
Yeah,
Yeah, at the
We'll
in
just stay
Nebraska,
longer.
my first day when I got there. In Puerto Rico, I'm usually the people that when you go to church, some of them, you know, dress like us, or like this. But some, and I was one of them, that used to have my tie, because my parents taught me that when you go to Mass, it's like when you're going to visit your girlfriend. And my parents were very strict with that. Oh yeah. So I had to go with the tie, and I went and I did my Mass, my obligation. Honestly, so when I go into North Platte, you hardly see any other thing but one group. I found the church after I got lost for about 2 hours. Finally got to church. I got to church. This is the most weirdest experience I've had. And I thought it was a weird experience, the issue of Morbillo. I got into church, I started work. I had my man's purse. Yeah, my tie, welcome buying clothes. I know I was, because my thinking is, that's the Lord.
Right.
Here I am. My wife didn't want to go with me. She didn't want to go with me. Because I'll go to a different church, and I took her to 2 towns further down where there was a Hispanic group. No, I wanted to go to my parish. Once I start going in, can you imagine the Mass happening? And when you come in, everybody turns like that and starts looking at you. And I'm like, Lord, please make a hole and swallow me. And I'm thinking this, Lord, please. But because I'm Catholic, I'm coming in. But inside of me, I was, Lord, please do something, because I don't think I'm going to take it. When I sat down, everything stopped. Yes, everybody stopped, and I was like, Lord, please. So once I sat down, so you saw a few people looking at me like that, and almost everyone was in jeans, was in t-shirts that were all raggedy, you know, like. So I started thinking, what's going on here? Then one tells me God accepts us as we come in. And I said, no, he don't. Because that's not the way I'm being raised. You see what I'm saying? They have a way of thinking, I have my way of thinking, and that is a conflict. So when it happens, I start doing, in my pocket, I start, so, yeah, okay?
Just down.
My bag, my shirt. Because I wanted to blend. We don't need to have that in the church.
No.
You understand what I'm saying? We don't need that in our church. Did you see the stupa? Everybody had their own color. Everybody had their own form. Everybody had their own uniqueness. Yet they all form part of the same art. That is the Catholic Church. Any other questions? No.